Ladies, gentlemen, and kids from around the world, my name is Don Agent. Welcome to the Kegel Show. I'll be your host for this week's episode. And to the left of me, I have the wonderful pleasure of bringing on Andrew Anderson,
Hey.
one of our PBA players and Weber alumni as well, essentially. Represented our college down here for a period of time. Thank you for coming out, Andrew.
Yeah.
And
Pleasure to be here.
you're down here for the PBA Clash this week. We got the top 8.
Yeah.
From the entire tour, and you were very happy to be one of those, I'm sure.
Very, very happy to be one of those.
We are glad to have you back at home, as we would like to say. You know, you've been climbing the ladder in the last 4 or 5 years at quite a tremendous pace. Can you give the audience some background on, yourself? Kind of what got you into bowling, thinking, man, this is going to be my niche, and what has really transpired the last 4 or 5 years?
It was always a family thing, and I think that's where I get a lot of the pride for it and the will to do it. Is my family always loved it. Some of my family don't do it as much as they used to, and they're kind of living vicariously through me. So,
Very cool.
yeah, it's really cool to be able to do what I'm doing. And yeah, I've been on quite a ride the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, and I really believe that everything has kind of led one into another. Every event, whether it's good or bad, has given me some type of information to go forward. So, I mean, I look back 5 years ago, and I bet you, if you asked me, I wouldn't have said in 5 years I could be Player of the Year. But somehow, I've just taken it in stride, and it's just been quite a ride. Like, that's what I've been saying the whole time. It's I'm just trying to go with it, and whatever happens, happens, and not let it get the best of me. And it's worked so far.
And don't short yourself, young man. You've worked very hard and diligently to get where you're at, for sure. You know, you didn't start at Weber, actually. You were at the college in Idaho
Michigan.
before Michigan?
Grand Rapids,
Okay.
Davenport University. Yep.
And
my
then
freshman
you
year.
came down to Weber, and you're also still studying right now. What actually brought you to Weber from Michigan?
After my freshman year of college, I actually took a year off. I didn't know if college bowling was what I wanted.
Okay.
College bowling is so unique, and you get to meet so many people from around the world, and I really wanted to give myself another chance at it when I left Davenport. So I took the year off. I was trying to decide, and it was hard not to come to Weber. You have world-class coaches and a world-class facility, so you're not going to get any worse by coming here. So as a bowler, it was the best choice for me, and from education, Weber International was a really good choice for what I was studying. Looking back on it, I wish I might have stayed another year, but like I said, I think everything happens for a reason, and that 1 year I was here did me great, and then I took what I learned from being here at Weber, and I used it along the way.
So, was the PBA for you, was that a dream for you growing up, do you think? Or, I mean...
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
a dream is a good word for it. You just never know what's out of reach as you're doing it. Like you take, when I was a youth bowler, when I turned like 13 or 14, that's when I decided like bowling is what I'm going to strive for.
This is it. Yep.
I kind of gave up on a few of the other little niches or things that I was decent at or wanted to be a part of, and I put all my focus towards bowling. And like one junior gold led into a next, and then one success led into another, and I think that I never really knew when the time was that I was going to join the PBA. I never had a sense on time like, yeah, this is going to be the time. I just, whenever I felt like I was ready, I did it, and I'm going to be honest, I did it too early. Like, I was not ready that first year, but
Hey,
looking back on it, best decision at the time, and I might have got my head beat in for a year, but it was well worth it.
great experience, though, because I'm going to tell you, not that I'd want to speak for the whole tour, but I've got a lot of friends out there, and, a lot of those made that exact same statement you said. I could have stayed on regional tour for another year or two, or maybe got my feet wet in some different venues, but once again, sometimes it's just, it's as good a thing to roll the dice and
Yeah.
give it a shot. So I think in the end you ended up doing okay, not too bad.
So far, so good.
What, thus far, whether PBA or not, could be something youth, what for you has been your best at bowling experience?
Man, that's a tough question. There's just so many experiences, and over the last few years, I've been very, very blessed to be able to now travel the world and meet so many different people and cultures. And I think that the best experience is just the experience to bowl on all these different stages. It's not just one. I mean, yes, like if I think of one moment right now, it's going to be the USBC Masters. I mean, that was an incredible day for me, and it was a life-changing day for me. But as overall, I really don't like to take for granted that I have the ability to travel and meet all these people and do all these great things in the sport that I love and I grew up wishing I could do. So I think that the best experience so far is just the ability to do all that.
Excellent. Let's go to, is there one specific bowler you think that influenced you?
I watched every show from like 1995 to 2006.
Nice.
You know, every single show with my brother, sitting in the room watching VHS tapes. And, there's a few that stand out, Barnes being one of them.
Absolutely.
I mean, I could watch Barnes bowl all day. And I got the chance to bowl alongside him at World Championships in Hong Kong last few weeks. And, that was just really cool. You grow up watching people bowl. Tommy Jones as well.
Phenomenal player.
Pete Weber. Like, I just loved watching them bowl. I loved being a part of it. And honestly, my first year on tour, I was a little starstruck watching them. But not only am I watching them, but I have to try to beat these guys.
That's how I felt like a lane guy. I'm back there doing lanes for all y'all, and I'm sitting here. All my heroes are like out in front of me all of a sudden. So I can definitely relate to that. Where do you think you see yourself in 10 years, or what would you like to see Andrew Anderson become in 10 years?
Every goal I've set, like as we've gone, I mean, I've ran through a lot of goals this year. So I don't know if I can go on that upward trend for 10 years. I don't know if I can go that fast. Like, very rarely are you going to have the years I just had. Like, they're just hard to come by. But,
sure.
I think that I'm going to try to start looking towards just winning more titles and hopefully eventually getting myself into the Hall of Fame hunt. I gave myself a lot of opportunities this year to win titles. I won 2 of them, and I had chances at 3 or 4 others. So getting the taste of that and the feeling of what it's like to bowl for a title on the biggest stage that we have, it's really incredible. So 10 years from now, I hope I can look back and say that I gave it my best shot, and I had a lot of those opportunities. Whether it goes my way or not, we're going to find out, but just putting myself in those positions over and over.
You're an astute young man. How about some advice for our youth, up-and-coming youth bowlers? Something that helped you out, sticks out for you, would literally say, go this direction.
Some of the best advice I've ever received bowling, I'm not going to name who, but it was literally just it's cliche, but to be yourself, not only as a person, but as a bowler. Every person has their own mental game, and you can be coached mentally, and I think mental game is important. Mm-hmm. But being able to be yourself while competing, I think, is the most important thing you can do, because if you're changing who you are on the lanes, it's going to change your performance on lanes. So for me, the biggest change that I've made in my bowling over the last 4 or 5 years, or especially from this year to last year, is I've allowed myself to be who I am on the lanes, and that means I'm going to be a little more emotional. I'm going to show a little more pride into it, because that's who I am as a bowler. So, but it's allowed me to not worry. It's allowed me to not worry about what could happen or what could go wrong, because all I'm worried about is having fun and enjoying this moment. So I think a lot of youth bowlers could enjoy the moment a little more often and enjoy the sport and the game that we play, and not look at it as a job.
Outstanding advice. Thank you so much, Andrew, for coming back to home and hopefully walking out of here 25,000 richer, without a doubt, on your home turf. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap. Keep those wrenches turning. Have a wonderful day.